Our second favorite hire of the coaching cycle this year stepped to the podium and became a clown instantly. The media had a field day with his stammering and his stuttering, repeating simple, repeating complex, and seeming completely disjointed. Yeah, he needs forensics or a debate team or public speaking in his past, something so that that podium didn't rock him the way it did. But Nick Sirianni and the group that he surrounded himself with is the second best coaching hire of this offseason. In part, that's because we didn't like the coaching hires of this offseason other than Arthur Smith. But the other part about this is that since 2019, we've been saying this is the year of the simple. 2020, it became even more ingrained in the landscape of the NFL. And that's exactly where he's positioned himself. Simple. Now, I want to pay it forward and thank our first 100 subscribers to this channel. Thank you for your attention, your time, and your open mind. It means a ton to us. And you may notice that's all we're after. There's no Patreon, there's no paid subscription, and there never will be. That's not what we're about. So if you're not on board, go below, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and be part of the journey that we're going on. When you look at the offensive side of the ball for the Eagles, you have to understand the coaching trees that these two guys come from. Sirianni through Frank Wright and Steichen. And we actually doubled down on this as a great hire when Steichen came in. And there's a big reason for that. Now, Sirianni in his press conference talked about making things look complex for the defense, but simple for us. Same thing with the defensive side of the ball. And that truly is reflected in his coaches. When you look at the Frank Wright scheme, you see a quality run game, sets a lot of things up. There's motion, there's bunch stacks, there's a lot of things that put a defense off balance and make life really easy on your quarterback. When Reich was in Philadelphia, Carson Wentz was killing the league. When Reich left, Carson Wentz fell apart. And we truly feel that this duo can bring Carson Wentz back to a quality production level. Yet he's likely to get traded. So what does that mean for Jalen Hurts? Well, we've seen Jacoby Brissett play quality football in this offense as well. Now, Jalen Hurts is a better athlete. Jacoby Brissett's better as far as being a polished quarterback with the arm talent and what he possesses. But this is an offense that makes life easy on your quarterback. So there are going to be a number of different options to you that will be a high level production efficiency level. And this is because the run game is very impactful. You see a high level of output from running backs in this system. Remember that for fantasy football. You see a lot of slip screens, you see a lot of ISOs, you see a lot of clear outs for running backs, you see all those positive things that make things really simple on the quarterback. Very one read heavy offense, a lot of manufactured offense, and that is a very easy way to stay efficient and stay on script. This is a good setup, but it gets even better with Steichen because what you saw this year with the Chargers, even though the coaching staff game management was rough and even though the run game wasn't there, remember that's Sirianni's side of the ball. Steichen, Pep, and Lynn came together and put together an offense that was very one-read ISO dependent. It's something that goes back to the Mike Shanahan Denver days where we were looking at it. And this was to get one-read guys open, design an entire play to get one guy open. And this really helped Justin Herbert in his first year. Carson Wentz has the arm talent to exploit this. Jalen Hurts, not so much. But because of how simple this is for the quarterback, you can start looking at quarterbacks who have tools, not mental traits. You can get away with a quarterback who's late on his reads, who's slow through his progressions if they have the big arm and the athletic ability because it's so simple. If Justin Herbert was asked to do more complex things in his first year, you would have not seen the results in the passing game that you saw. So Pep, Steichen, and Lynn are all pushing modern, at least in the passing game aspect of the NFL, and bringing that into a Frank Wright offense is a very interesting combination. How those two ideas blend together could be one of the new coaching trees that we see sprout to success in the NFL. This doesn't ignore the fact that the Eagles are in a very bad spot right now. Their cap is a mess. They have some aging out players on the offensive line. They have their wide receivers who are aging out, except for Rieger, who we don't like. The defensive back seven is Slay and McLeod and a lot of guys. There isn't the talent that you want to see on this roster in a lot of places, but there are pieces you can anchor around. Lane Johnson, the entire defensive line, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, and in this Indy-style, Chargers-style offense, Boston Scott becomes a useful tool. And the best path for the Eagles right now would be to understand that Carson Wentz is too expensive to man the role in their offense, and if they can trade him, that would be a good move to do. And to understand that Jalen Hurts' arm talent will never be maximized in this offense, so trading him, too, would be a good move. And strangely enough, Jacoby Brissett being picked up as a bridge quarterback would be a really nice fit. He's familiar with the offense, he has the skills that you're looking for, and is it going to be a great quarterback? No. But is it going to be a quarterback who can succeed and keep this team afloat while all the other turnover is happening? Absolutely. You could also use 6 on Lance or trade up and get Lance and understand that as he matures in this offense, it's going to be a treat and a half to watch, and it's going to be very difficult for other defenses to stop. And on the other side of the ball, they've brought in Gannon, who is breaking a branch off a tree of Eberflus. And Eberflus is one of the coaching candidates we had this year who we thought deserved a head coaching job. He was in our top 5. That system, too, can be something that is done simple. There's a lot of that defense that allows your players to make plays. It's kind of what we saw with Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl. Play something simple, let your players fly around. But the Eberflus version of this defense has a lot more complexity that you can build into it as time goes on, and you have pieces who can do multiple roles. Corners who can play man and zone is a benefit to them as they go forward down the road. You saw that with Indy this year when they got Xavier Rhodes and they got TJ Carey, so then they could play a little bit more diversity in their scheme. Now, the back 7 for the Eagles is not good, and it doesn't fit this scheme. Slay honestly doesn't fit this scheme. Rodney McLeod is the only player in the back 7 who we feel good about, unless Davion Taylor can settle into the league and show his range, because his range at the will linebacker position in this scheme would be great. But the defensive line is going to love this scheme. Specifically, Fletcher Cox is going to love this scheme because this scheme inverts the nose tackle and the eagle tackle, and they allow Fletcher Cox or whoever is the eagle tackle that's inverted to the other side to attack right up the field and blow everything up. Hargrave and Cox are going to dictate this defense from the middle of the line. And that's what this scheme really allows. Now, this range and the length and the size that you want in the back 7 is something that the Eagles don't have. They could fix a lot of that issue with one pick, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. And even though we're incredibly high on him, 6 still seems a little early. But if Trey Lance isn't down the board to you at 6 and you've been able to sucker a team to pay a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, now you have the opportunity of really maxing out 2 positions on this team with your first-round picks. Koramoah could be the defensive star that you need to be the Darius Leonard of that defense. Having him as an eraser at the weak side linebacker position would cure so many evils on this defense very quickly. And then at 6, Kyle Pitts. Pitts would fit this offense beautifully because first off, he'd be the best wide receiver that the Eagles have. Second off, he would be the best move tight end that the Eagles have. And when you look at the Reich and Steichen offenses, there are ways to exploit him, and using the offensive line that they do have in place, having a quarterback who's at least competent, and having Pitts, Goddard, and the running backs would give them all the options they truly need to make this offense efficient right away. Understand there's turnover here. This is going to take some time. They're going to have to settle in with their scheme. We don't even know what quarterback they're going with, but at the same, and Roseman has butchered the cap and butchered the trade or draft value of his last 2 drafts. There is a long road to hoe, even though the Eagles have an amazing amount of talent on this team. They have anchors. It's just the glue that holds the whole thing together that the Eagles are really lacking. Once they finally put out this grease fire in their kitchen with the whole Wentz, Peterson, Roseman situation and just start forging ahead, things are going to be good for the Eagles. And this is one of those teams that even though they're struggling now, if they just keep making small, right decisions and stacking them on top of each other, the Eagles could be a much better team than you expect them to be way sooner than you expect them to be. That is why the Philadelphia Eagles, with a head coach who stuttered and stammered all over himself at the podium and got clowned for that hire, actually made the second best coaching hire of this offseason. Next video, we're going to cover Staley and Salah, the third and fourth rated coaches in the coaching hire. After that, it's going to be wrapped up pretty quickly because I don't like what I see out of Detroit, Jacksonville, or Houston at all. Love you guys. We need you. Stay strong, and I'll see you on the other side.